Welcome to the Marketing Powers Podcast. I'm your host, Mkwemba Mangangu, and I'm joined by my co-host, Grace Gondwe.
We're both marketing enthusiasts with a passion for sharing our knowledge and insights with you. This podcast is designed to equip our listeners with the information they need to excel at marketing in their different spaces. Our aim is to bring marketing home.
With that said, let's delve into today's episode.
Hi, Mkwemba.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Of course you're fine.
Don't do that, Naimwe. I know you missed me.
So,
I know you
Grace,
missed me.
No, we did miss you.
Of course.
When you miss an episode, it's like, how long has she been away for?
I wasn't even away for that long.
No. And
I wasn't.
I like what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because of how it ties into what we're about to discuss.
That's a good segue. I see what you're doing. Good segue.
Because Grace has been globetrotting.
Yes, I was doing tourist things
in
London.
In the land of fish and chips.
In London. Just hopefully the Londoners won't send me away. The fish and chips is trash. The fish and chips is trash. Like, just stay here and eat the brim. Whatever that was. No.
You don't appreciate.
No.
We missed the pineapples from Uganda.
Uganda. Let's just go back. Listen, visit African countries. The food is good. The food is you. Maybe when I go to Italy, I'll say something different, or when I go to France. But otherwise, just let's eat Uganda pineapples. That's all.
And what I'm interested about today is when we first started the podcast and we're brainstorming conversations, we said we need to talk about tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism marketing.
Yeah.
And today we do.
Finally, we have a destination marketing expert. And we're so excited for the conversation.
Yeah. So today, our guest is a distinguished business professional renowned for his innovative contributions to strategic marketing, customer experience, corporate communications, and brand management, with reach and a varied career spanning the banking industry, advertising sector, and tourism. He brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to our gathering. His extensive skill set encompasses marketing management, customer management, public relations and communication, strategic brand positioning, go-to-market strategy, and corporate affairs. His strategic insights and innovative approaches have consistently driven success in the organizations he's worked with. He is a fellow of the Zambia Institute of Marketing, a member of the Institute of Directors of Zambia. He's a recognized leader and influencer in his field. His excellence and dedication were recently honored when he was awarded the prestigious Marketing Personality of the Year 2023 award at the recently ended Zambia Institute of Marketing Conference and Gala.
That's who you want to be when you grow up.
When I grow up, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest, Mr. Chavunga Lungu.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. When someone is reading your bio from across the table, it sounds different.
Are they talking about me?
Are they talking about me?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. Like Mkwemba said, we've wanted to have someone over for a conversation around tourism and marketing in the tourism space. And that's because we are very passionate about this country. Like, we're very passionate about this country and how we can make this country better. Even the heart of the podcast really is about how can we empower people here with like an understanding of marketing that is contextually applicable to the Zambian space. So we're very excited to have you here and we're looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you. I'm actually happy to be here. I'm glad that you've been looking forward to have someone speak on subject matter of tourism. And the very fact that you say it's an area that you've been interested in is something that is exciting for me. It's an exciting space. It's an exciting sector. And I think it's one of those sectors that everyone who's interested in marketing, especially for this country, must really be interested in.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep telling my marketing friends that if there's anything that you could do pro bono is to market your own country. So I'm passionate about tourism. I'm passionate about Destination Zambia.
Thank you so much. Nkume, do you want to start us off?
Yes. So, Mr. Lungu, we have our compulsory questions that we make it a point to ask And the first one is, how do you define marketing?
I like the way he says compulsory questions. Because it reminds me of the exam paper.
Yes,
No, we're going to grade you.
40 marks.
Look. There's many definitions of marketing. There's and they keep evolving, by the way.
Yes.
And there's because marketing by its very nature is influenced by the trends around. So now with all these trends around digital platforms and they talk around AI and sustainability and all these things, so marketing keeps evolving. So there's definitions that we've always known from the book, from the Philip Kotler's.
Yes.
And then there's also definitions that each institutions or brands have come up with, including individuals.
Yeah.
So if you have to go by the book definitions, you have definitions such as marketing being a management function that is responsible for anticipating and fulfilling customer needs profitably.
Yes.
Those are book definitions. But I think for the sake of our discussion, I really want to say marketing is in everything that institutions do to ensure that institutions give value to customers. So everything that ensures that customers or stakeholders get value constitutes marketing. Because if you're going to break down the definition like that, you will realize that everything that you do in terms of whether it's a pricing, in terms of whether it's a positioning of your product, in terms of whether it's branding, in terms of whether it's leaders or staff or that you employ, they are all aimed at ensuring that you are delivering a service or a product that ensures that you get your money in return. So you have to think twice about whatever you do. And that constitutes marketing in itself. And that's why I'm saying it keeps evolving.
Yes.
If I should write a book anytime soon, I'll have my own definition of marketing. And it will probably say marketing is everything we do.
I like that. I think I really like that because I think it's come up in some conversations we've had in the past about how sometimes people think about marketing and they think it's just advertising or they think it's just sales. And I think it's come up very much that it should permeate in almost every function. Like you have to have a relationship with your finance people because they need to understand why you're pricing things a certain way. And they also want to know how you're going to break even or how you're going to make profits and so on. So I think I like that marketing is everything and is in everything. I think I like that definition.
Very true.
Exactly. And consistently, we know how we keep talking about value addition and how it's important because he's talked about you need to create value for the consumer
so that you get value.
Of course, we like talking about the value you get because the money
bottom line,
the bottom line
is important.
It's very important.
Yeah, and I think the next thing that we would be curious about is how did you get into the marketing space? Like what is your story coming into marketing?
It's a long story and it's a zigzag story as well. I once sat with a boss of mine at a bank where I was working, and I went to him at an issue around my own personal career, and he told me one thing, and he says the way to the top is zigzag. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in Formula One as a sport,
Yes.
So if you observe the Formula One driver, the race track is never straight.
Yes.
So it always has these zigzag corners. It's for a reason. One, first of all, it is for the sake of making the sport fun, and secondly, it's a challenge that is put along the way by the developers of that track so that you can see how the driver navigates. So you will see as the driver for Formula One is approaching the curve, they'll maintain a certain side of the curve.
Yes.
They are calculating in their mind, within those few seconds, they are calculating how they are going to navigate that curve. It's a challenge for them, but as soon as they navigate that curve, they need to accelerate and pick up speed. I'm relating to that phrase. That way to the top is zigzag because it's in the zigzags and the corners and the curves where you find the challenges. But the more you do it, the more you know how to navigate.
Yes.
Yeah. So look, we all have those career ambitions in grade 12, grade 11, and they asked you, and those years, I don't know if it still happen because of the careers that we knew. We knew them as premier careers. So you would ask someone and say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a pilot, and all those things. Obviously, those dreams were there. When I left school, many moons moons ago. It was at a time when there was this talk about Y2K and computers were just the in thing, and I wasn't really defined what I want in terms of what I wanted to do. But I fell in love with the talk around computers. So I said I was going to be a computer scientist. And when I went into uni and college, I actually started with computer science. So I studied information management. But when I started work, my first job was to sit in front of a TV and a radio, believe you me.
Really?
Yes. The job was called media monitoring. Now, media monitoring is where you are taking note of adverts and taking note of how long they've run and the commercial value of those adverts. And you would put, because it was done manually, would put this information together and would put it into worksheets and then develop statistics for organizations. Those days we had clients where I used to work, and these clients were in the MNOs and would give them information to say, look, your competitors are spending this much on radio and TV and all those things. So as I was doing that, I used my information management background, and it enabled me to put those things together and like to playing with the computers and everything else. But that business closed, and they moved me into client service, which was marketing in an advertising agency. And that's how I fell in love with marketing. So obviously, when you pushed into one area, you start to think, should I study for this thing? I was beginning to get in love with it. And that's how I started studying marketing. So I started with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And along the way, obviously, I enhanced myself with a bachelor's in marketing. And then I did international marketing, a master's in international marketing. That's how I fell in love with marketing.
Oh, wow.
And I worked for 2 advertising agencies doing marketing, developing brands, developing communications, developing campaigns, and then worked into a bank, Stanbic, as marketing manager, then went to Barclays, which transitioned to ABSA as marketing and communications manager, and then I went to Zambia Tourism. It was a dream job, Zambia Tourism Agency. You're like the marketing director for the whole country. Yes. So you can see the weight of the work that is on your shoulder. So that's how I found myself in a nutshell in marketing.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I like that story because, I mean, we are relatively young.
Or are you?
Relatively young.
Subjective.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on who you're asking. But I think I'm having a lot of conversations with like younger people who are just coming out of university and who are thinking about what opportunities, they can leverage, getting into employment. And I think I like the story in that you were flexible in what space you entered. Like sometimes people are stuck with, because I did computer science, I should only do like a very super technical computer science focused role. But like if there's an opportunity for you to do something different, especially something marketing related, be open-minded.
It's true, and I'm glad you bring in that dimension. I mentor quite a number of young people, and I tell them my story. And the thing is, don't close yourself. Like I said in the example that I give, when you come out of university or when you come out of college, all we are doing is that we are building you to be a flexible blank check. Yes. Within that check, we could fill in anything. Yeah. So when I go out to mentor young people, I tell them, when you're given a job, you did finance and you've been sent into sales, do it as much as you can, and learn everything else, because it becomes part of your experience and no one takes it away from you. I'll give you an example. Is there a degree that is called a Bachelor of Degree in Chief Executive Officer?
No.
There's nothing. But chief executive officers come from all sorts of backgrounds because they've learned while they were younger in their careers, have accumulated all this experience, and now they can talk about all these things, and they become chief executive officers. So young ones have an opportunity to learn everything that whether they've been sent in the workshop or something else, learn it as much as possible. It becomes part of the experience in future.
Wisdom nuggets.
Wisdom nuggets.
In addition to the tourism, just life information for you out there as you are listening.
Oh, wow. Now I'm interested in going back to tourism because honestly, as a marketer, if I'm being honest, if there's an opportunity, if you ask me, where are you going to work in Zambia? I would say, take me to tourism.
Yeah.
So actually, if the opportunity is there somewhere,
somebody shout out,
take it up.
Shameless plug.
Anyway, and part of it was always, I think, the love to travel, right? And I always looked at it as an opportunity to go to see all these places within the country and see how best can then use the information you have and say, okay, I can have people come here and enjoy what I'm seeing here, say this destination. So coming back to you and your time as the director of marketing for the Zambia Tourism Agency, what was your main goal having been appointed in that role at that time? And I guess what were your priorities during that period of your tenure?
Yeah, I think the drive was really to make Zambia as a tourism destination of choice. Tourism marketing is a whole interesting marketing sphere altogether. It's actually the right term for tourism marketing is destination marketing, because tourism involves promoting of different destinations. This could be countries or regions. Even within this country, you can actually promote a destination. If today you say mine is just to promote the northern part of the country, you're marketing that destination. So for me, when I went into tourism marketing, so quite frankly, first of all, I was looking for growth. So I saw this job, I applied for this job, it says director. And then I was looking also for a shift from private sector to public sector, so that I could have the experience of both
sides.
Business management from a private institution, and most of them which were international institutions that I was working for, and then also from public sector. Public sector opens you up to things like interacting with policy makers, and then the governance issues that to do with the management of assets that belong to the country. So for me, when I saw it, I said, wow, this is marketing the whole country. First of all, I'm not competing with anyone within the country. I'm competing with people outside the country, because I belong to a region. Look at SADC. This is a region with over 350 million in terms of population. You have 8 other countries surrounding you. You're competing with them in terms of international tourists, but also there's also the aspect of promoting the destination to be attractive to domestic tourists. So for me, I thought this was the ideal thing. So that particular time when I started out, very challenging time, by the way. I went to the Zambia Tourism Agency at the height of the COVID. I move during challenging times. I think when I went to Barclays, it was at that time when it was announced that Barclays was leaving Africa, and they said that I am going there. So I love challenges myself, because I love to be associated with achievement. And I love to be part of that achievement. So when I went to Zambia Tourism Agency, very hard time in terms of travel. The numbers had gone down. The international airlines were not flying. Borders for most of the regions and countries were closed. So for me, it was at the time when I said I want to be part of sustaining the tourism industry. If you look at my bio, and if you look at my full bio, one of the things I say is that I was part of the team that enhanced the sustenance of the tourism industry by at least 60%. At a time when the hospitality industry, hospitality is a subsector of tourism, was folding. Some hotels were downsizing. Some lodges were closing. We helped with a team at Zambia Tourism Agency to continue to promote domestic tourism to ensure that the businesses are sustained. But also, look, and then there's that crisis of the COVID, and then we ensured that the country was still as visible as it could with the resources that were available to ensure that the numbers still started going up.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm happy that at the time I was leaving, we had actually grown international arrivals by 30%. So the numbers right now that we recorded are more than the numbers that were recorded before the COVID in 2019, and that for me is something that is not only heartwarming, but something that makes me happy because I'm part of this sector. But also, it was at a time when tourism was highly being looked at as a key priority sector. The country has priority sectors. Some of these are sectors that like mining, agriculture, and energy. And tourism was one of them because it was one of those industries that previously was being looked at like one of those social industries, like travel. How much does travel bring? But if you look at a tourist, it is said globally that for every tourist that travels, there's about 10 people that benefit in terms of jobs. So if you're a tourist, I heard you were in London. It wasn't a job. When you went to London, if at all you did go to London, Grace, when you went to London, there was a pilot that was benefiting.
Flew, yes.
Yeah, there was the chauffeur, the driver.
Yes.
There was the hotel, the guy that was doing the bed.
Yes.
There was a guy that was serving the food.
Yes, in the
There was a guy that was cooking the food.
The food, yeah.
There was a farmer that provided the food to the hotel.
Yeah.
You probably did some activities.
Yes.
So the guy the tour operator that put those activities together, that was probably the tour guide.
Yeah.
There's the transporting company and their workers. So there's some shopping that happened.
Yeah.
So when people come to Zambia, they do all these things.
Yes.
Sometimes they buy these mementos and memorabilia that reminds them about the destination. There's everyone that benefits. So for me, those were things that drove me. One, I was interested in getting more tourists to the destination. Two, I was interested to getting more Zambians to know about the country. If you went to my socials right now, you'll see a lot of work around how I desired to make the country accessible, and people should know that they can travel to the country, and there are options for them to travel, and also more businesses to benefit from the country. That's really what drove me. So this was really more of passion for me. That sometimes I look at myself as a Mr. Tourist.
Love that, yeah. Because I think even from that perspective, right? Now that you've mentioned it, okay. Say around COVID, I remember also deciding, I think we should have been Livingston and whatnot. And there was a campaign that was started that was about, make your destination local.
Yes.
Yes. So now I'm realizing that that's who was doing it. That was so
you were influenced.
Exactly. Because for a long time, you always having gone there, but then we always had this notion of maybe it's because you're scared from afar, where some places are maybe they're too expensive, or they're for people coming from outside.
Yeah.
That's who this is created for.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you realize that, hey, you know what, you go out there yourself, and the more money you have, it's better with more money.
Yes, it is.
That's the truth.
But it can still be done even on a budget.
Exactly.
It can still be done. And the experience of, like, if it's places, it's the same experience. Like whether you're staying at an expensive place, I was going to name drop, but no. Whether you're staying at an expensive place or you're staying at a cheaper place, when you go to the falls,
it's the same
it's the same
experience.
thing. Yeah. And it's cheaper for you as a Zambian actually to go to the falls than for someone who's coming from outside the country. So that's amazing.
Exactly. Maybe the only difference is maybe one of you would opt to fly over the falls and you get to experience it in real time.
As it is. But if we're talking about crossing the bridge, it's the same experience, whether you're in the 5-star or in the 1-star. It's we're all experiencing Zambia
exactly
that way. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think something that we're curious about is if I'm thinking, I have this destination. I'm a Zambian. Maybe I'm in Luapula. I'm in Northern Province. I'm in Western Province. And I, out of passion, just want to invite people to come. What are like the core things that I need to think about to like strategize for how I should market my destination of choice?
Yeah, so if you want to invite people to come to the destination, for example, you have friends that are out of the country and you want them to come, there are a few things that you need to have in mind. One of which is access. And by access, I mean, what are the logistics around how they will get to where you want them to go? You gave an example of Luapula. Luapula is in an area which we commonly call as the Northern Circuit when it comes to circuits for the purposes of marketing and development. So you probably will be thinking, if I have friends coming out of the UK, the friends that you made in London, and they come through, how quickly can you get them to Mansa? Is it by road or is it by air? Yeah. And that's one. How do you get them there? Secondly, what do you want them to see? So what are the attractions around that area? You want them to, if you're in Mansa, you want them to quickly get them to Samfia and maybe see the beach. And then there's a waterfall around there to see that. And maybe it's around the time when there's a cultural ceremony. So you want them to immerse themselves in culture and it reminds them about the destination. That's one. So how do you want them to get there? And what do you want them to see? And then where do you want them to stay? Okay. So you're not going to bring people, obviously people, there are different types of travelers. They're backpackers and campers, and they don't mind staying in anywhere in the world, as long as they're on the move in the world. It's part of their experience. But there are some that want to come and have a wildlife experience, for example, cultural experience, but during the night they want a place where they feel I can relax. I have a place. What are they going to eat? And all those things. So usually it's around the attractions, around how they're going to get there, around where they're going to stay. Maybe another one which is a factor, obviously, is how much will they spend within there. You talked about traveling on budget, right? There are those, but you talked about there are also some visitors that are just not price sensitive. Just take me to the destination. I want to go and see South Luangwa. Lower Zambezi and everything. It's okay. It's a niche as well. Tourism is like any other product. You find niche products within there, and you find products for everyone. So those are the things that you'll be looking at, and if you're putting a whole itinerary around that, you just have to have those things in mind for the destination.
I like that. It makes it like achievable. Like if I'm just thinking like as a Zambian, I want to share information about this, and we have the internet now. Reach is like it's open. Anyone from anywhere will see. Like I think I like that because it's like practical things that I can do. Like you guys come, you can fly to this airport, you can stay at this place, you'll see these things, and I'm doing my part for marketing the country that way. And I think I like that you've spoken to like the ceremonies and all of that. So just thinking about Zambia as a destination, again, if I am in any part of the country, what are some opportunities and what are some challenges that you, in your experience, saw that we should look out for? Now, this is like high level consulting. But what are some of the opportunities and what are some of the challenges that, if someone wants to get into this space, these are some of the things that they should look out for?
Yeah, so there's many opportunities and many challenges, obviously. But again, with challenges, it still takes you back to opportunities. Because those that find entrepreneurs, they look at challenges and they say, how this is a gap. You see? So and that's marketing. So it's about filling the gap so that you can create value again. So for Destination Zambia, it is generally promoted in 5 different segments that we have. So we promote it as a wildlife destination. We also promote it as a cultural destination. We then promote it as a heritage destination. And then we promote it also as a MICE destination. Now, MICE is an acronym for meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. And then we also promote it as an adventure destination. So those are the opportunities. you could just say, today I want to put up a whole adventure activity, and mine is just going to be taking people for whitewater rafting and taking people for bungee jumping and putting packages together to take them to the mountains and to take them to all these nice dangerous like places. And that's in quotes and quotes. And that's an opportunity within there, and Zambia has great landscapes for all this. If you're going to Eastern Province, I'd learned quite recently someone was started some gauge swing of some kind. It's around Luangwa. It's an opportunity. And then why all these five segments? Because that is where business development, infrastructure development, and everything is going to happen. If you go into wildlife, there are opportunities such as you being a tour guide within there, opportunities such as you setting up chalet. Oh, by the way, our friends that have these safari lodges, don't think these are places where you find 100 rooms, 30 rooms. You find some of them just have 3 rooms within there, and they create an experience, and they're creating value, and you're paying for that particular value. So you find those are the ones that go into there. And then also cultural ceremonies. This country has over 73 ethnic groups, and culturally diverse, but united. And we have close to 90 traditional ceremonies. So you can actually market the country as a culturally diverse destination and bring your visitors to say, you can come to Zambia and we can take you to all these cultural ceremonies and carnivals, so that you can get to immerse yourself in the country and learn about its cultural heritage. So you take people to Mtomboko, to Nchwala, to Kombiliamiji, and all these places, and they experience the people. People travel for culture. The people that come out of Japan, for example, they love culture, and they travel and they want to learn about the different cultures. And then also there's natural heritage. This country boasts of close to 4,000 heritage sites. If you went to the National Heritage Conservation Commission, they will tell you that. So the people that just go to these places to go and visit them. So there are opportunities to either build in there, do some activities. If you went to Livingstone right now, one of the difficulties that I have about Livingstone, remember, I'm a marketer, and marketers are always looking for opportunity to improve their products, is that if you went into Livingstone right now, you don't have many activities for young ones. What if you put up a fun park within Livingstone? It means that there are more people that come into Livingstone. They stay longer. In tourism, there's that is known as the length of stay. How many days you stay in a place. What does it mean when you stay longer for a tourist? They're spending longer.
More money.
More money there. They're spending for more hotel. They're eating more. They're doing more activities, and the wealth is being spread in that region. So all those are opportunities that you find. If you want, you could just be a niche transporter. Mine is just to transport people to all these places that, say, at a certain part of a year, I want them to go to Mansa by road. And you use Tuta Road. So you're going to say, mine is just for you to see all these places, these towns. And when you reach Kawe, you've got a colleague who just tells them about Kawe. This is where the Broken Hill, yada yada, came from. And this is Broken Hill is in UK. The country is trying to bring back this scow and everything. You're in Kushi, this is where it happens. You reach wherever you reach. If you're in Serenge, you say, oh, this is Serenge. It's a small district, but this is where you find the world's largest mammal migration. In the bat migration happens around this period. Maybe they have that experience around October, and then you take them into Tuta Bridge. This is one of the longest bridges in Central Africa. And then you're in Mansa, you're at Samfia, you're at the beach, and everything else. You see, so you've created a trail. You've created a circuit, and you've created this maybe fun bus or something like that, which you could even park along the way in a way that people can actually sleep, and it's part of that. The opportunities are vast.
Having to absorb this information.
I'm thinking about, it's like visualizing even like all of these places he's talking about, and actually seeing like it's real, and these are things that can be done,
and how niche it can be. I remember a friend of mine. I mean, she said it jokingly, right? And she was just like, you know what? I want to chase waterfalls. And now that he's mentioned that, like, that's actually a thing. Someone can just be like,
I just want to see all the
I just love waterfalls,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to see. And then you decide, okay, we'll start from Southern Province.
Yes.
All the way till we get to the top, you see every
Yeah.
waterfall in this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And you created your niche
Very true.
in that regard.
Marketing. We're running out of time.
I thought we were saying we were doing 5 hours.
We really could. But yeah, anything, Mukwemba?
Yes. So I want to talk about a comparative study, right? So in our context, so when you look at the Visit Rwanda campaign, partnered with Arsenal, which has been quite successful for them, what lessons can we as Zambia learn from Rwanda's approach in leveraging high-profile partnerships?
Yeah, there's plenty of lessons. I mean, we hear this Rwanda story. We hear it every time. The only thing that people don't do is to go into the intricacies of the partnership between. So Rwanda has leveraged soccer sponsorship. Partnerships. So they've now gone ahead to partner with 2 other clubs. So they started with Arsenal, then they do with, I think, Bayern Munich, and then PSG as well. Huge amounts. The Arsenal deal cost them about £10 million a year.
Oh, wow.
And they have to do it for a minimum of 3 years, and they've gone ahead to renew it.
Okay. Oh, wow.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot
There's
of money.
almost the same amounts for the other 2 also. So it's a big budget that they do. So what they realize is that they needed to rebrand their country. Now, you know that Rwanda was coming out of the genocide and all those things. So it's a strategy. It's a marketing strategy also to rebrand their country. It's not only for tourism, by the way. It's also for investment promotion for the country. So this approach was not only to attract tourists. This approach was to also attract investors. So Rwanda right now is positioning itself as Africa's center for technology, especially technology meetings, and also sport. And also a MICE destination where people go to have conferences, meetings, incentive travel, conferences and events or exhibitions. So it was all that. But it was a full government approach. It was not just from a tourism point of view, because the investment side also was in there. Those that would want to do conferencing were in there, and tourism also to a large extent was in there, because tourism has a benefit that cuts across, and so everything else is involved in that way. So yes, it's a good approach, but it's an approach that takes a whole government being involved. A business case needs to be done so that you can see the value. So for Rwanda, the benefit is going to be really long term.
Yes.
It's not only tourists. They've got other things that happen. In Rwanda, it was a good approach because they're not as naturally endowed as we are. They only have gorillas, by the way. But for them, the gorilla naming ceremony is a big thing, and these superstars, influencers and celebrities come to name gorillas and make money out of that. So yes, it's something that can be done for this country. We just need to be careful around it, because obviously there's the give and take. How much is involved and how much value should be taken. So what should be happening currently is that we must, as a country, develop a business case around it, and this business case is something that will go to the government leaders, and they have to see value, economic value, not only for tourism but also for investment promotion. And then we say we are ready as a country to spend this much in promoting the country, and then bringing in the numbers. It's something that can be done. It's not the first time, but also it depends on the approach. It backfired in South Africa. They wanted to sponsor. I can't remember now what that club was, but it backfired because at the time there were economic issues that were going on within the country, and obviously there's the aspect of doing with stakeholder management, perhaps. So not all stakeholders need to be managed, including the citizens, so that they understand to say this is going to bring in this benefit. So it is something that can be done. Rwanda is a case study. They're still getting benefits. They did not get it within a few months, but they had to do it. You have to do something big. And sometimes you take risks because business is a risk.
It's a risk, essentially.
Yeah.
Because then there's the aspect of, I like that you've mentioned South Africa and the fact that they tried the same thing and it backfired. But then I think they've used this approach of, we're using Trevor Noah. So there's an ad that I've been seeing. I think it got lots of traction and people I don't know if you've seen the Trevor Noah ad.
Yes.
Yes. And so it looks very cool, but it also looked like those very Cape Town specific destination type of marketing. Yeah. And so they've leveraged, say, an influencer they have that has a very global presence. Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to take that as their approach to knowing, this didn't work, but this person has influence and they can, go ahead. I don't know if we have...
We do. We have so many.
We do actually. So that what South Africa did, by the way, and I'm glad you did observe that. So it was not that Trevor Noah promotion. They used him as an influencer. He is an influencer. Yes. He now has a global presence and he's got a following within the USA, and he's made it for himself.
Yes.
So it was not for marketing the whole of South Africa. The benefit is going to be for the whole of South Africa, but it's for a region, like you said. It was for Cape Town itself. And obviously the numbers for tourism had been dwindling for South Africa for some time for various reasons, perhaps that I cannot share on this particular platform. Only that with that I see Zambia as having an opportunity to get those numbers that were going there. So influencer marketing is big. Look at Ronaldo. He was the face behind the Qatar World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah. So 600 million followers on his social media pages. So if we gave him money and he did for us, you gain the number. So influencer marketing is not something that we could look at as a small thing. It's one of those things currently, since we're talking about marketing, that works for brands. And I think we must use it.
Yes. Yeah. The best advantage. I mean, it's done well, and I think it can be done better. There should probably be a team that is specific, because when some people do visit us for various purposes, and you just have, this person is coming, and take advantage on how you craft the message that you put out and say this person was here.
I'm thinking about it from the perspective of the talented people that we are exporting as a country. I mean, we have like sportsmen and women who are like working outside of the country who can sell us to those spaces where they are, that I think would be a great opportunity to leverage as well. Yeah. As we draw to a close, another question that we ask all of our guests is there one product, service, maybe a business that for you embodies the Zambian brand or the Zambian spirit?
Am I allowed to throw out names? Company?
Oh, yes. Name drop.
Okay, cool. Look, there are many, I think Zambia in the last 15, 20 years has seen lots of businesses that are coming out of here that are making it. But since you've particularly asked me that question, for me, I think Trade Kings makes it for me. Look, Trade Kings started out really small. And then they started out with these domestic products. And then now we see that they are really living their brand promise, improving lives. Because they are in our lives everywhere. In food, you're going to the bathroom, literally everywhere. But also recently, you've seen them get awards, and the president was congratulating them on his social media platform. So for me, that's a brand that has gone out and that is representing the country. They've invested here and they've invested also outside the country. It means, and they've diversified. So for me, that really talks about nation branding. It talks about the dream of living marketing as it were. Marketing must be seen to create value and grow. And this value must influence everyone else. So you see them having to export within South Africa, within the region and everything else. So for me, that's what would be my view.
We're working on trying to get someone from Trade. This is not the first mention.
No problem. No problem.
Tremkins has been name dropped a couple of times.
If you are listening, please come and tell us your story.
You are glad. I'm
Happy
glad
have you.
to let you know that you are currently interviewing the marketing personality of
Who has the connection?
I can get you the connection to Tradekins.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. See, we're experiencing the value add. Just here. Experiencing the value addition. Marketing personality, who has impacted your career the most?
Oh, wow. Marketing careers. I grew up reading Kotler.
Of course.
Philip Kotler. So any of his editions for me really work out.
Okay.
And he's constantly evolving. So the fact that is evolving works out for me. I'll read him any time. But marketing personality. Look, when I defined marketing, and I think marketing for me is not just anyone who's trained in marketing.
Yes.
But marketing personality for me, posthumously, Steve Jobs.
Oh, yes.
Cuts out for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at how his products and gadgets are influencing us up to now.
Yes.
He understood. He was not creating gadgets. He was making life easy for people.
Yes.
So he understood marketing psychology, the minds of people and the spaces where people want to be and their comfort and everything. And that's and all his products were really around that. I mean, you guys, I don't. I'm not even an iPhones person, but every time you hear iPhone 15, iPhone what, people are lining up and going to trade in, and they want to change their products. Yesterday, I was moderating that session. One of our speakers was Madam Mabel Mungomba, one of the previous presidents for the Zambia Institute of Marketing, a very experienced marketing, and she tells us around these examples for Steve Jobs, and she says sometimes you find the only thing they've changed on this thing is the camera.
Yes. A few megapixels.
But you see how it touches our emotions.
Yes.
So for me, he cuts out.
Yes.
I like that you're not even an iPhone user, but you're acknowledging, and the iPhone user is enthusiastically saying exactly.
Marketers acknowledge what others have done.
Yes, yes, we can concede.
And it takes me back to that his famous speech where he says he says we need to rebrand Apple. Okay, we need to be different. So he said it with an ad. So there's a company that used to sell milk. Okay, and they had a problem selling the milk. The numbers it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So what happened was they decided to create an ad that did not talk about milk and was got milk, and from there their numbers rose. And then he further goes on to say, do you notice great brands like Coca-Cola or Nike do not talk about the product?
No.
Okay, they will not tell you, no, Nike has this, it's got this thickness.
Will not tell you how Coca-Cola will not tell you their secret formula. And what matters. Just talking about how they are connecting, they're talking about emotions, they're even showing some ads, they're even talking about other foods and telling you how it's great to have a great meal with a Coke. How wild did we go when we saw that thing, Coca-Cola? I can have my name on it.
Exactly.
And I'm looking out now for
No, you don't want to drink Coke, you just want to get it with your name.
With your name, so that you can take the picture
to play
and
around
show
with the
people.
emotions.
The last one is, and I think we touched on this as we were talking through the episode before we started recording. Who is a guest that you'd be excited to listen to on the podcast?
Is it within the country?
Well, our dreams are valid.
You can shoot for the sky. Anything is possible.
The last time we were told Mr. Bessa was like, I would like to here the president of Zambia.
Yes, as our chief marketing
yes,
officer
as the chief
for the
marketing
country.
officer.
Yeah.
And we're saying, okay.
Yeah, we're still working on it.
Is a chief
working.
marketing officer. Yes,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear him. But since he's already said, let's keep it real. Let's see if we can get the Minister of Tourism to come.
Great.
Yes.
As you mentioned, we have the marketing personality of the year sitting here at the table with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not promising, but we are fairly confident that one of these days we shall have the Minister of Tourism here with us on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a really, really good conversation.
Thank you so much for the invitation. This is a lovely conversation, but also lovely stuff that you're doing out here. Marketing is something that is passion for me. Tourism marketing is ingrained in my veins. So you guys are doing great stuff. I have listened to your podcasts, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Even before I ever knew that I would have an opportunity to feature.
Really?
Here. So it's going out, and the fact that you can talk about marketing and how great it is we all need marketing in every sphere in this country. And like I said, marketing is really in everything that we do. So well done. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And also thank you to our listeners for taking the time to listen to us. And we hope we can continue to create value.
Yes.
And add value in your lives.
Yes.
And as we also push to retain value to ourselves
for our own bottom lines. Yeah.
So no, it's been an amazing conversation. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you listen to our podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And so please feel free to get in touch with us if there's anything you'd like to hear us talk about. We are always open. You can send us an email or, get in touch with us on our social media platforms.
Please.
We're very available. So
on that note, remember to keep
your finger on the marketing pulse.
We hope that you have enjoyed today's episode just as much as we have.
Till next time, remember to keep your finger on the marketing pulse.